Hey everyone, welcome back to Learn English with Podcasts.
Hi everyone, really glad you're here with us today.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Sarah.
Episode 15.
15 already?
Halfway through the series.
Halfway. That's actually a big moment.
It is. And before we get into today's episode, Sarah, do you want to say a quick word to our viewers on YouTube?
Yes, absolutely. So if you're watching this on YouTube and English isn't your first language, you can turn on the subtitles. Just click the CC button at the bottom of the screen. It gives you a live translation as we speak. Really useful, especially today because the topic is a bit heavier than usual.
It is. Today's episode is different.
Different in tone.
Different in feel.
We're still teaching phrasal verbs. That's the job.
But the story we want to tell today, it's one that stayed with us.
It stayed with me for a long time, actually.
Do you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start. So, a few years ago, I was working on a project, a big one, the kind of project that doesn't come along very often.
What kind of project was it?
It was a product launch for a mid-sized tech company. They had been developing a new software platform for almost 3 years. 3 years of work, 3 years of meetings, iterations, testing, retesting.
3 years is a long time.
It's a very long time. And I joined the team in the final stretch, about 8 months before the planned launch date.
So you came in when things were already intense.
Very intense, but also there was this energy, this real sense of purpose. Everyone believed in the product.
That's rare.
It is rare. Usually in a project that size, you have people who are just doing their job, clocking in, clocking out. But this team, they genuinely cared.
What was your role?
I was on the communication side, making sure the messaging was consistent, that the rollout plan followed through properly across all channels.
So you were tracking everything.
Everything. Every department had to follow through on their piece. Development, marketing, sales, legal, customer support.
And did they?
They did. That's the thing. Every single team followed through. Every deadline. Every deliverable. People were staying late, working weekends. Nobody complained.
So what happened?
The market changed.
Just like that?
Just like that. 3 months before launch, a major competitor released something very similar. Not identical, but close enough that our positioning became complicated.
That must have been devastating.
It was a shock. I remember the meeting when the CEO came in and told us. The room just went silent.
How did the team react?
Nobody panicked, which, looking back, says a lot about who these people were. The project lead, her name was Claire. She stood up and said, "Okay, we follow up on every single piece of market research we have. We go back to the data. We don't make any decisions until we understand exactly what we're dealing with."
She kept her head.
She kept her head completely, and the team followed on from that. Everyone went back to their stations, started pulling reports, analyzing the competitor's product, trying to understand if there was still a viable path forward.
Was there?
For a while, it looked like there might be. Claire and the leadership team spent 2 weeks doing an exhaustive review. They followed up on every lead, every opportunity, every possible pivot. They followed out every scenario in the business model.
That sounds exhausting.
It was, and it was also kind of beautiful in a painful way, because you could see how much everyone cared. People were following up on things at midnight, sending each other documents at 6 in the morning.
They weren't ready to let go.
Not at all. And Claire, she followed through on Every single promise she made to the team during those 2 weeks, every update she said she would give, she gave. Every meeting she said she would hold, she held.
She was consistent.
She was extraordinary. And then, 3 weeks later, the decision came down from the board. The project was being shelved indefinitely.
How did people find out?
Claire told them herself. She didn't send an email. She didn't follow out the standard corporate communication protocol. She gathered everyone in a room, every single person who had worked on that project, and she stood there and she told them the truth.
What did she say?
She said, "You followed through. Every single one of you. You did everything right. The work was good. The product was good. Sometimes the circumstances are just outside of what any team can control. And I want you to know that I see everything you gave to this."
That's...
I know.
Did people cry?
Some did. I did a little. There's something very particular about losing a project that you believed in. It's not like being fired. It's not a personal failure. But it's still a loss.
A grief of sorts.
Yes, exactly that. A grief. And what made it harder was that you couldn't point to anything that went wrong internally. Nobody had dropped the ball. Nobody had failed to follow through. The team had done everything asked of them and more.
And the project still didn't make it.
And the project still didn't make it. And that is one of the hardest things to sit with in a professional context, when the effort was real and the outcome still didn't follow.
Did the team stay together after that?
Some did. Some moved on quickly. A few people left the company within the next few months, which is understandable. When something like that happens, you need to follow your own path, figure out what comes next for you.
What about Claire?
Claire stayed. She followed on to lead another project, a smaller one, more contained. And I heard later that she was exceptional at that too.
That doesn't surprise me.
No, some people just know how to follow through on the work, on the people, on the promise they made when they signed up for something.
And I think that's actually what today's episode is really about. Beyond the grammar, beyond the vocabulary.
Following through, following up, following on. These aren't just phrases in a textbook.
They describe something real, something that matters in how we work and how we treat each other.
And every single one of them is built around the verb to follow. 5 phrasal verbs, 5 different meanings, all essential in a professional English context.
And we're going to go through each one carefully. Definition, real examples, the logic behind the particle.
Because understanding these verbs means understanding how professional English actually works, how people talk about responsibility, continuity, completion.
Things that matter, especially when the stakes are high.
Especially then.
All right, 5 phrasal verbs with follow. Let's take them one by one.
Starting with the one Claire did best.
To follow through.
To follow through. And there's a reason we're starting here.
Because it's the one that carries the most weight, professionally, personally.
It's the verb that separates people who talk from people who deliver.
And we saw exactly what that looks like in Claire, in that team.
Let's break it down properly.
To follow through.
This one is the backbone of professional credibility. Honestly, if there is one phrasal verb from today's episode that you remember, let it be this one.
Because it's not complicated in meaning. Everyone understands what it means to finish something, to complete what you started.
But the weight of it, the professional weight, goes much deeper than that.
Right. To follow through means to complete an action or commitment that was started, to see something all the way to the end, not almost to the end, not mostly to the end.
All the way.
And the reason it matters so much in a workplace context is that most failures of trust between people at work come down to a failure to follow through.
Someone said they would do something, and they didn't.
Or they started it, and they stopped before it was done.
And the other person was left waiting, or had to pick up the pieces themselves.
That's where relationships erode. That's where reputations are damaged.
Slowly, quietly, one missed follow-through at a time.
And Claire? She was the opposite of that. In the worst circumstances imaginable, a project being canceled, her team devastated, she still followed through on every single commitment she made.
Every update, every meeting, every honest conversation she had promised to have.
She followed through, and because of that, people trusted her, even in the grief of losing something they had worked on for years.
That's the real power of this verb.
All right, examples. Let's give solid, usable examples.
She followed through on every commitment she made to the team. Clear, direct. She said she would do things, she did them. All of them.
Second example. The new policies are to be followed through by the entire team. Notice here it's passive. You'll hear this in more formal professional English, in memos, in briefings, in management communications.
These procedures are to be followed through, meaning this is not optional, this is not partial, this goes all the way to completion.
And a third one, because this verb deserves a third example. He started the project with great enthusiasm, but failed to follow through.
Oh, that one stings a little.
It does, because we've all seen that person. Or, if we're being honest, we've been that person at some point.
The enthusiasm was real. The intention was real.
But the follow-through wasn't there.
And that's what people remember.
The particle through. What does through give us?
Through means crossing the entire length of something, going from one side to the other, not stopping in the middle.
It's a journey word. You go through a tunnel, you go through a process, you go through a difficult period.
And when you follow through, you travel the full length of the commitment, from the moment you made it to the moment it is complete.
No shortcuts, no exits halfway.
Through.
To follow through. To complete a commitment or an action from beginning to end without abandoning it before it is fully done.
Number 2, to follow up.
To follow up, this one is everywhere in professional English. Everywhere.
If you have ever worked in an office, sent an email, attended a meeting, made a phone call to a client, you have encountered follow up.
It means to take the next step after an initial action, to check back, to pursue something further.
You do something first, a meeting, a conversation, a proposal, and then you follow up. You go back. You make sure things are moving.
And the key word there is movement. Follow-up is about keeping momentum alive.
Without follow-up, things stop. Decisions don't get made. Projects stall. Clients drift away.
Think about how many things in a workplace exist in a kind of limbo because nobody followed up.
The email that was sent and never answered.
The proposal that was being considered.
The conversation that ended with, let's reconnect next week, and never did.
All of that is a failure of follow-up.
And Claire's team did the opposite of that. When the crisis hit, she said immediately, we follow up on every piece of market research we have. We go back, we check, we push.
She didn't wait for information to come to her.
She went after it.
Examples. The manager is to follow up on the customer complaints tomorrow. From the PDF. Very clean, very professional. There's a problem. There's a next step. Someone is responsible for that step.
She sent the proposal on Monday and followed up with the client on Thursday.
4 days. Not too soon, not too late. Professional timing.
Because follow-up is also about judgment. You don't follow up 5 minutes after sending an email.
Although some people do.
Some people do, and that's a different conversation.
3rd example. After the meeting, he followed up with a written summary of all the decisions made.
That's excellent professional practice. The meeting happened, the decisions were made, and instead of leaving them floating in the room, he captured them, documented them, sent them out.
That's someone who understands what follow-up actually means.
It's not just checking in, it's closing the loop.
The particle up here
Up gives the idea of moving toward the next level. The initial action is the ground floor. The follow-up is the step above.
You go up from where you were. You don't stay at the same level. You move forward and upward.
There's progression built into the particle.
To follow up. To take the next step after an initial action in order to check progress, maintain momentum, or close an open loop.
Number 3. To follow on.
To follow on. This one is slightly more subtle than the first two, and I think it's underused.
It is underused. People know follow up, people know follow through, but follow on, less so.
To follow on means to continue something logically, to proceed from where something left off. There is a sense of natural sequence to it.
One thing leads to another, and the second thing follows on from the first.
It's about logical continuation, not just repetition, not just checking back, but the natural next chapter of something.
In the story of the project, after Claire gave the team the news, people followed on from her lead. They took what she had modeled and they continued in that spirit.
They didn't collapse. They didn't scatter. They followed on.
Because she had given them something to follow on from.
Examples. The team is to follow on with the implementation phase next week. From the PDF. The planning phase is done. The implementation phase follows on logically from that.
Second example. His presentation followed on naturally from the research shared last month.
There's a continuity there. The research came first. The presentation is the next logical step. It follows on.
The second workshop will follow on from the first, building on what participants learned.
Perfect. There's a sequence, a designed progression. Each element follows on from the previous one.
And in a professional context, this is how good projects are structured. Each phase follows on from the last. Each conversation follows on from the one before.
There's coherence. There's logic.
The particle on.
On expresses continuity, like something placed on top of what came before. You add to it. You build on it. You don't start from zero.
There's an existing foundation, and you follow on from that foundation.
To follow on. To continue logically and sequentially from something that has already been established or completed.
Number 4. To follow out.
To follow out. This one is more formal, more precise, and very useful in contexts where instructions, procedures, or plans need to be executed completely.
To follow out means to carry out something fully, to execute it entirely, to implement it as specified, without cutting corners, without improvising.
It's about fidelity to the original plan or instruction.
You were given a set of steps, a protocol, a procedure, and you follow it out. You don't adapt it halfway through because it's easier. You don't skip the parts that seem unnecessary.
You follow it out.
And in the project story, when Claire said she would not follow out the standard corporate communication protocol to announce the cancellation, that was actually a significant choice.
She could have sent a company-wide email. She could have had HR handle it.
That's the protocol. That's the procedure most companies would follow out in that situation.
But she didn't. She chose something more human.
And that contrast actually highlights what follow out means very clearly. There was a procedure, a specified way of doing things, and she consciously chose not to follow it out.
Because she judged that the situation required something different.
Right. Examples. The instructions are to be followed out as specified in the manual. Passive form, very formal, very precise. This is the language of compliance, of procedure.
Second example. The contractor followed out the client's brief without any deviation.
Every detail, as requested, nothing added, nothing removed.
Third example. The team was asked to follow out the safety protocols during the transition period.
Not partially, not approximately, fully.
The particle out here carries the idea of completion, of bringing something all the way out into reality.
What was planned becomes actual. You take the instructions and you bring them fully out into the world.
There's a totality to it, a thoroughness.
To follow out, to carry out instructions, plans, or procedures fully and precisely, without deviation or omission.
And the last one, number 5, to follow around.
To follow around. This one is the most concrete, the most visual.
And in some ways, the simplest.
To follow around means to accompany someone continuously through a series of movements or locations. You go where they go. You move when they move.
It can be literal, physical, like a tour group following a guide through a museum.
Or like a shadow following someone through their day.
And it can have different tones. Sometimes it's neutral, sometimes it's professional, and sometimes it carries a slightly uncomfortable connotation.
If someone says she follows him around everywhere, that can mean she's very attentive, very engaged. Or it can mean something more intrusive.
Context matters enormously with this one.
As it does with most language.
Examples. The tour guide is to be followed around by the group of tourists. From the PDF. Very neutral, very professional. The guide leads. The group follows. That's the arrangement.
Second example. The new intern followed the senior consultant around for a full week to understand the role.
That's a very common onboarding practice. You shadow someone. You follow them around. You observe before you act.
It's how a lot of professional learning actually happens, not in a classroom, but by following someone around and watching how they work.
Third example, and this one has a slightly different tone. The photographer followed the executive around during the company event.
The photographer has a job. The executive is the subject. The photographer follows them around to capture the right moments.
But you can hear how the same construction could feel very different depending on who is following who and why.
Language always carries context.
Around.
Around expresses movement through different spaces, not in a straight line, not toward a single destination, but through multiple places following the path of someone else.
There's fluidity to it, a responsiveness to someone else's movement.
You don't lead, you follow. And the around tells us that the path is varied, multiple, not fixed.
To follow around. To accompany someone continuously through a series of locations or movements, adapting your own path to match theirs.
All right, 5 phrasal verbs. Let's bring it all together.
The full recap. Clean and clear.
To follow through. To complete a commitment fully, from beginning to end, without abandoning it before it's done.
To follow up. To take the next step after an initial action in order to maintain momentum or close an open loop.
To follow on. To continue logically and sequentially from something already established.
To follow out. To carry out instructions or procedures fully and precisely, without deviation.
To follow around. To accompany someone continuously through multiple locations, adapting your path to match theirs.
5 verbs, 1 root, 5 completely different directions depending on the particle.
And all 5 grounded in something real, something human, the way we work, the way we show up for each other.
The way Claire showed up for her team.
Yeah.
If you want to practice everything we covered today, there's a full quiz waiting for you in the article linked just below this episode.
5 questions, all built around real professional situations. Read through the verb cards again before you start. It'll make a difference.
And if you found this episode useful, share it with a colleague, with someone who is preparing for a professional English exam, with someone who just wants to understand English more deeply.
That's why we make this series, not just for the vocabulary, but for the understanding that comes with it.
16 episodes down, 15 to go.
The full playlist is linked in the description. Every episode, every verb family, in order.
Start from the beginning if you haven't, or come back to any episode you want to revisit.
Each one stands on its own, but together, they build something real.
Thank you so much for being here today, especially for an episode that asked a little more of you emotionally.
These are the episodes that stay with you.
They are. Take care of yourselves.
And we'll see you very soon for episode 16.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.